What is up, guys? 10th Man here, bringing you another exciting battle, and it's been a while, but pretty late. Happy holidays, happy New Year to you all. I hope you guys had an amazing Christmas and all sorts of fun stuff. Had a butt ton of, festivities and all that fun stuff. Don't know why I said butt ton, but here I've got a nice UU battle against my good buddy Jack, free. Never know how many free serves that are in those names. He said, it's been a while since I'm narrating when I'm stumbling all over the place, but big threats on his team. Holy crap, it's Heracross a threat. Arcanine's a pretty big threat, and Registeel is always going to be a pain in the butt. So, and, I kind of threw this team just randomly together, and Snorlax also is a pretty big threat, too, if my Heracross goes down. So, but without further ado, let's get this battle started. And, recently, all the teardrops and stuff, everybody knows the Chansey dropped down to the UU, which is a big pain in the butt. Who knows? That thing's already in things for suspect testing, but I'm going to lead off with my Crobat, kind of expecting the Registeel to lead off because, it's Stealth Rocket and Thunder Wave and all that fun stuff. So, I'm going to lead my Crobat, going to smack him with a taunt, which, I think he actually predicted. My screen's a little bright, so what I'm going to try to do is darken it just a little bit. There we go. And he predicts the taunt. He's going to go for the Iron Head. It does a rather kind of meh chunk to Crobat. This Crobat has a lot of HP investment, and it's got some attack investment too, along with a lot of speed. The only thing this Crobat probably struggles with is Weavile, which isn't very common in UU in the first place, but this Crobat does fail to outspeed a Weavile, so it's got to be careful. But here, expecting, Iron Head or Seismic Toss is going to my Victini, which is my infamous Band Victini. Adamant Banded. This thing is just so ridiculously powerful. It can destroy so many things upon impact. It's a threat. I mean, Victini, don't mess with it, especially since it got Bolt Strike through, another event. It's just such a freaking threat. It's ridiculous. But out comes his Arcanine, expecting to V-Create and all that fun stuff. I kind of forgot about it at first because, I was, if it had Flash Fire, it would have been a problem. But luckily for me, he has Intimidate. So I'm just going to pulverize him with a nice, powerful V-Create. And even if the Intimidate drop, it's still going to do over half that Arcanine, which is incredible. Now, judging from the damage, if he was a defensive Arcanine, I know that would have done less. So I definitely expected him, I anticipated him to be more of an offensive Arcanine. So here I expected him to actually Wild Charge because, it's his best coverage option. It hits a lot of my Pokemon, pretty hard, especially my Crobat and my Blastoise, two of my good defensive and supportive Pokemon. So bring out my Scarf Meloetta, and this Meloetta really isn't the most powerful thing. It's pretty much the most useless member of the team. I mean, Meloetta is a decent Pokemon in its own, regards, but at the same time, it kind of stinks too. Just going to go for the safe stab Hyper Voice. It's not going to do too much to the Registeel because Registeel's a tank. I think I actually get a crit there, and yeah, I do. That's right. So, sorry, I guess, but, it doesn't matter because Registeel can brush it off like it's nobody's business. And just going to switch out because I'm kind of stuck. I'm going to go with my Blastoise, expecting the Thunder Wave or the Stealth Rock, because Blastoise can take both with pretty much, ease. So, and I do predict correctly, so I'm going to go for the T-Wave. So, it's going to it's not going to cripple my Blastoise, but it's just going to make it, slower, which isn't too big of a deal because it's slow anyway, and who really cares? So, he's just going to now take up this opportunity to set up Stealth Rocks, which kind of hinders his team since Crobat and Victini especially are weak to rocks. Fortunately, I'm going to get the full para here. I think I predicted Stealth Rocks and was trying to go for the Ravage just to get them off the field straight away. But then, unfortunately, it's not the case. So, he's going to withdraw here, and I apologize because I don't exactly remember the entire battle off the top of my head. And he's just going to bring out the Roserade, but finally, I do get that Rabbit spin off, which is great. Not have to worry about it. So, he's going to withdraw his Roserade into the Registeel again. I think he double switched, predicting my I don't know what exactly he predicted. I think maybe my Crobat, or I think it was my Crobat he predicted. But pretty nice play on his part, I must say. So it's Crobat against Registeel again, and yeah, we're back to square one. So that kind of stinks. But I don't want him getting those rocks up again easily, so I'm just going to taunt him again. I mean, I could have just U-turned, but decided that, Thunder Wave and Stealth Rock are too big of threats to my team that I didn't want, I didn't want to take the risk of switching out and having one of those take, especially a T-Wave. That's, that would have been a catastrophe right straight away. So it's just going for the Seismic Toss. It deals a little bit more damage to Crobat than Iron Head did, which, isn't too big of a deal, but Crow's going to be switched out because I can't, since he's taunted, I really don't care. I'm going to bring out the Victini again, which is slowly getting whittled down to the seismic tosses, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But, I'm just going to deal with it because it's seismic toss and stuff. So, he's going to draw, go into his Blastoise, I think, to take a V-Crate, which isn't too big of a deal because I want that Registeel gone because that's a big pain in my butt to this team. So, I'm just going to go right again for that V-Crate. Got to smack that Blastoise right in the chest. And, I thought it was a pretty nice chunk to the Blastoise. It says about, I want to say, a third and move away from the Screen Cat and, all that fun stuff. So, but, again, it does a pretty nice chunk to the Blastoise. I mean, it's just amazing. Banded V-Crate is just so freaking powerful. It's ridiculous. But, going to switch out because I do not want to take a Scald. Don't want my Victini to go away just yet. So, going to back out my Meloetta because I know it's the most useless member of this team. So, it's going to come out, going to take a Scald. Not too big of a deal, I get the burn, big surprise, nothing new there. I always get burned and stuff, so yeah, burn and stuff. Lol, 69 HP because 69 is the new, it never wasn't new at all actually, but here I'm going to, kind of risk the fact that he's going to go for a Scald again. He's going to go into my, is my Heracross, but it's not a Heracross. I decided to do some mind games. This is my Zoroark. So here, he's scared of the close combat. He does not want to take a close combat. So he's going to bring out his own Heracross against my Zoroark. I'm going to trick him to Choice Specs, which is huge, absolutely tremendous. I'm going to take away his, his Choice Scarf, which is great, which means he's slower, and now he's got Specs, which makes him even more useless. And still, my Zoroark has a pretty good degree of versatility because now, it's still pretty fast, And I didn't know what to expect here. I guess I expected a switch. So my Heracross is going to take a lot of unnecessary damage, unfortunately, which, isn't too big of a deal. This is a sub-3 attacks Moxie Heracross, and, I kind of want to turn that into a sub-select Cross, but we'll see in the future. I like that set a lot as it is. But now I'm just going to bring out Meloetta as that fodder. So I was kind of predicting close combat from that Heracross, but that's not the case. So get the useless crit on my Meloetta, down it goes. Not too big of a deal, so yeah, but the only issue is he gets his Moxie boost, and that I forgot to take into consideration. So, but, Victini I know is probably going to be, Victini's faster than a non-scarfed Heracross than a Jolly Heracross by 4 points. It's 299 to 295 for a max speed Heracross. So I'm going to go for this safe Zen Headbutt, not wanting him to bring out the Arcanine or Blastoise because I know Zen Headbutt will do a little bit more than both of them. So I'm going to cleanly take out that Heracross by Stab Zen Headbutt. And just going to withdraw because I don't want to take a Scald again. So now I'm going to bring out my own Blastoise to take on his because my Blastoise can take Scalds all day. Can take a Toxic because I'm paralyzed. So, it's actually much better that my Blastoise is paralyzed as opposed to anything else. So that's pretty nice. And sorry my camera's shaking around so much. I'm just sitting and I tend to shake the camera a lot. So, boy, I need to use something other than my phone for cameras, but, whatever. But he's going to draw Blastoise, go back into the Roserade, which I guess, I think I predicted that, actually. I don't remember the game entirely. I think I did predict the Roserade switch, and I'm going to go back into Victini, which is kind of a big deal because Victini can absolutely slaughter anything that tries to switch in with a V-Create, so, except this Blastoise, of course. But, I didn't want to go for the Bolt Strike. I probably should have gone for Bolt Strike there, but I decided, what, I want to get Switch Initiative. Just going to go for the U-turn because I think a Bolt Strike might have KO'd from that range. I'm not 100% sure, but now I'm going to go back into my Zoroark. Now, because of it's so hard to keep Zoroark into disguise because as the battle progresses, and if you've already brought it out, it's going to keep swapping positions. And now, because, my Zoroark is actually in the last spot of the party, which means my Zoroark's illusion goes away, so I just bring it out as it is, which kind of stinks, but not much I can do about it. I'm going to trick this Blastoise to Choice Scarf now, which cripples the Blastoise to a considerable amount. He's going to go for Scald. It's going to do about half, but now, which is what is nice, I steal his leftovers, which actually gets me into a range where I can probably take another Scald, which is pretty nice. So I'm just going to hit him with a Dark Pulse. It's going to do a considerable chunk. I probably should have just gone and not tricked him. I probably just could have killed him with a Dark Pulse, but oh well. I wanted to trick something, and I like tricks, so, that's a thing too. So I'm just gonna go for Dark Pulse. Unfortunately, I get a crit in the first one, which kind of mattered. I kind of, I'm sorry for that, but doesn't matter too much, I guess, because second skull probably wouldn't have killed me. Though the burn, if he got the burn, it probably would have killed me. But regardless, out comes the Snorlax, and now I'm just pretty much leaving in my Zoroark as Death Fodder. I want to get a decent hit on this thing, so what I'm going to do is going to go for the Focus Blast since I'm now not locked in thanks to, Trick and all. So I'm going to go for the Focus Blast. It's actually going to do a decent chunk of the Snorlax, which is very, very nice. And he's going to go for the return to knock my Zoroark out, which isn't, too big of a deal. Zoroark has done its job, pretty much crippled 3 members of his team, which is pretty darn awesome. So down goes my Zoroark. Not a big deal, like I said. But this Snorlax is always going to be a pain in my butt because I always struggle with Snorlax regardless of the situation. But I'm going to bring out my Heracross, and I think I'll go for the sub here, if I'm not mistaken, even though he now goes into his Registeel, which I probably should have just gone for 2 close combats, to be honest. I really don't know why I didn't, because, being safe behind a sub is usually the way to go, but to be honest, it probably would have been much better off if I just went for the close combat, 2 of them. So, I'm going to smack this Registeel with a close combat, and it's going to do, about, I want to say 75, maybe 80%, which is pretty darn solid, I must say. So, especially since it's, a Jolly Heracross and all. But he's going to go for the Seismic Toss to get the, the reliable, damage off. I think Iron Head would have broken my sub regardless, but off goes my substitute. I want this Registeel dead, so I think I stay in here and just go for another close combat. I think he switches out, though, if I'm not mistaken. But, after turn effects are annoying, so leftovers and all that, I'm getting out of breath because this is a long battle. So I'm just going to go for that's what I do. I go for the sub again because, I predicted maybe him to switch, but that's not the case. Sadly for me, he's going to go for the Seismic Toss, and I'm kind of getting something from Xenon there. I got to stop saying that's not the case because I got that from Xenon. I got to stop watching. But regardless, Registeel's just chilling, and I think this turn is now where he switches out, if I'm not mistaken, and that is the case. I think he goes into, that's right, the Rose ready to take a close combat. Well, now, here's the thing, close combat, it's going to do a pretty heavy chunk to Rose Rate because, Rose Rates just aren't that bulky. I want to say it does 60%, maybe 70%, but, I've seen him run Scarf Rose Rage before, which is why I take this opportunity. I know Heracross is still going to be useful. I need to keep it alive, so I'm going to switch out, not wanting to take a Sludge Bomb, because I kind of think he's the Scarf variant, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to bring out Crobat to be safe, and, because Crobat can take any one of his hits. I wouldn't even mind Sleep Powder, to be honest, but that Sludge Bomb actually does a pretty hefty chunk, which isn't too big of a deal, but here I predicted him to potentially switch, so I went for the Roost, and here I see he doesn't outspeed. So if I had to guess, I actually think this is a Specs Roserade, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I think it is Specs, though, because that Sludge Bomb did a lot to Crobat, for a Crobat with decent bulk. So, because I surprisingly see him stay in, but I guess he realizes at this point it's kind of useless. But, stuff. And I'm just going to Brave Bird everything, because why not? Brave Bird destroys all the Pokemon. So down goes Roserade, and looking good here. I think I only lost 1 Pokemon at this point, which is pretty nice. And the rest of his team is getting worn down pretty nicely. So, but, excuse me. But out comes the Registeel again. Unfortunately, I cannot take out the Registeel with a Brave Bird at this range by far. There's no way I'm taking it out. So this time I'm going to go straight for the U-turn because I kind of anticipated him to expect a taunt again. So go back into Victini because, I really didn't care at this point. Victini's still going to live at Seismic Toss, so I'm not too concerned about that. But I'm going to live with 41 HP, which, Victini's still hanging on to dear life, but now I can finally take out this damn thing of a V-Create, which gives me the satisfaction that I so craved and desired. And then goes to Registeel. So, Beta Victini finally gets the kill that it has so longed for, and we can finally move on from having to deal with rocks and T-Waves and all that crazy shenanigans. So, down goes his Registeel, and now out comes the Arcanine. I think he, again, tries to go for Wild Charge here. It's too bad. I can't remember what I had. I don't think I even had Stealth Rocks in this team. That was the flaw I had of this team. I did not have Stealth Rock. Because I randomly team built, I did not have Stealth Rock in this team. It would have helped me so much in this battle. But, I mean, these are the kind of battles that make me feel good. Even while forgetting Stealth Rocks, I can perform pretty well in battles. You know, the extreme speed was pretty obvious, so I went into Blastoise to take that. I think he thought my Victini was Choice Scarf, to be honest. But, now here he goes for the Morning Sun. Because I had a feeling he wasn't going to Wild Charge to sacrifice himself. So Morning Sun's going to bring him, you know, high up. And I guess he either A, predicted a switch on my part, not wanting my Blastoise to die, or B, just thought he could take a Scald, which he cannot. The Scald is going to take that Arcanine out, which is great. Defensive Blastoise, you are a monster. This is why you are number 3 on the usage charts. Blastoise is just an amazing spinner in UU. I mean, I love Hitmontop too, and it doesn't get enough credit that it deserves, in my opinion. Hitmontop is good, regardless of what people say. I wouldn't have hit number 1 on the UU ladder on PS if it wasn't good, because that's my team on PS utilizes a defensive Hitmontop. So I call shenanigans on people saying Hitmontop sucks, and I think Snorlax actually is his last Pokemon. So I'm just gonna leave Blastoise in, gonna go for the Scald, and that insult to injury, I am gonna get the Scald burn, which is great. And yeah, I think at this point is where I switch out and I go into my Crobat, because I didn't want to sack my Victini or anything, so I just go into my Crobat. And Crobat is just such an anti-metagame UU Pokemon. It's just amazing. And even can fare well against Chansey, which is pretty cool, because it can just Brave Bird and Taunt and keep whittling it down. It can just roost off Seismic Toss. So yeah, battle against Crobat and Chansey, Crobat would win hands down. So, you know, the return did pretty much nothing thanks to the burn. Just going to finish this battle off with a Stab, 120 base power, Brave Bird, and it's in words of Fizzy Stardust, Brave Bird everything. Snorlax is down. That will be the game. 4-0 in my favor. GG Jack. And I apologize, this narration wasn't the best because I'm tired and stuff and shit and all that fun crap. But, you know, it's my day off, so I decided why not. Nobody's home. I will narrate. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Pretty long game for being a 4-0, but I hope you guys enjoyed. It was pretty fun. I had a lot of fun. So, rate, comment, sub, and later, guys.